Bushcraft 412. In this video, we're going to talk about Mtech knives. Are they garbage or are they gold? Now, Mtech is one of those companies, kind of like High Point is to the gun world, in that High Point makes really, really inexpensive guns, and everybody fights over, are these guns garbage or are they, okay and usable? And I think Mtech is about the same. They are on the low end, Chinese-made knives that very commonly see them at gun shows and cheap retailers online, places like eBay, Amazon, etc. Usually discount cheap knives. A lot of them are pretty gimmicky too, and decorative and kind of over the top. But I've been going through and doing a lot of shopping and looking, and I kind of got into this on my SHTF knife video. And I got thinking, I wanted to do a video to kind of expand on my feelings on this. Because Mtech, like I said, everyone hates Mtech, and it's like an embarrassment if you're a knife guy and you want an Mtech. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, if you're a knife collector, yes, Mtechs are not a valuable knife. They're nothing to be proud of. But as for everyday general use, these aren't horrible knives. Some of the folders aren't terrible. And a lot of some of these fixed blades are actually very impressed with. I don't have any folders to show, but let's just start with the basics. Mtech is Chinese made. A lot of the knives come from Taylor Manufacturing, which is in China, and they are, of course, designed in the USA, handcrafted in China, is what they usually say on them. And they, the company, pretty much, they make a lot of the Smith & Wesson knives, United Cutlery. There's a good handful of brands that share the manufacturer. And they pretty much all use 440 steel. As you can see, it says handcrafted in China. Well, these things are 440. My guess is that they're 440A. They could be C, who knows, But here's the thing, though. 440 steel isn't horrible. I mean, it really depends on the heat treatment as to how good it is. But 440, a lot of people knock 440 because there's a lot of horrible knives of 440. But 440 can be a decent steel, particularly 440C. So I don't automatically knock a knife just because it's 440. It's not worthless to me. I'm sorry, but whether this is 440 or VG10, if I stick this in your gut, you're not going to know the difference between those two steels. Granted, this knife's thick enough, a very thick knife, or if you stab someone in the bony area, it's likely to make it through. But still, who knows how the steel will hold up under heavy, heavy conditions. These knives are made, I think Mtech focuses a lot more on looks rather than, function or quality or any of that. This is kind of a Bowie style with a fake false edge tip, with a fuller, a little bit of a cutout there. This knife is actually surprisingly sharp out of the box. This will cut paper, shave the hair off your arm, no problem. And it's a nice, thick, full tang knife. Complete full tang to the end. Wood overlays. The handle, of course, is lacking. There's not a lot of grip to it, but I can fix that with grip tape. The finger guard is very solid. No wiggle in there at all. So I'm real pleased with that. Wish there was a lanyard hole, but, this is an Mtech. But overall, this is a very usable knife. As for edge retention, the 440 is not going to hold the greatest edge, but for a light use knife, or something you're going to use like a just in case knife, throw this in your trunk, bring it on the occasional camping trip, something like that. This is great. I bought this knife for like $10 at Wild Bill's surplus website, or Wild Bill's wholesale, I can't remember. It's like $10, $11. I don't think there's a better fixed blade knife on the market for that price. And this to me is just going to be a backup knife. It's just going to be an extra that I'm going to keep around. And to me, this one here is gold. I will, possibly even buy one or two more of these just to keep around. And, because I'm a bit of a prepper as well as a backpacker and a hunter, I got no problems taking 2 or 3 of these and putting them in the bottom of my gun cabinet. Then I have them if I ever need them. On to the garbage. This is an Mtech Dagger design, meant to kind of rip off the K-bar. It has the fake leather stick handle, which is actually a very lightweight wood. Not sure exactly what it is, but it's feels like a softer wood. It's really not leather. And I know it's not leather because it's all one piece, and it's just made to look fake. It does have pinned on pommel metal. Size of the handle is a little short. I could definitely use another, half inch or so on that. The metal guard is kind of flimsy. You can feel it bend a little if you push on it hard. The blade to this is just way too thin. This right here, if I were to take this knife in my hands and bend it, I could snap this blade, no problem. So this is not really, and the function for this being a dagger, of course, is self-defense. There is no way you could use this knife for self-defense. The blade's just too thin. This could possibly snap. So this right here I put in the garbage category. It was $8-9, I think. Can't remember what website I got it from. But as you can see too, the baked on finish has spots where it's on unevenly, where the finish is messed up. The finish is not that great. The edge is pretty sharp, of course. The tip's very sharp. But bad finish, bad design. If this were a thicker knife, this would be gold, but just a bad design on the blade. Great shape, just too thin for its purpose. Next, some more gold. This here is the I think they call it their Desert Dagger. It's basically a rip-off of, let's see if we can get this to focus. This is a rip-off of the SOG Fusion Fixation Dagger. They're almost identical. If you actually, there's a couple people who have videos comparing the two of them. Very similar handles. The shape's identical. The blade's a little thinner on the Mtech, but this right here is a very serviceable blade. This is thick enough to be of actual use. Very thick. Serrations are worthless, but this knife is sharp enough on the edges where you can, with a little work, this would be razor sharp. Tip is very sharp. Very strong blade. This is not something I could break no matter how hard I pulled on it. So this is a definite great add, and I paid about $12 for this. And I will definitely buy 1 or 2 more of these, just like I said, just for the purpose of having them around, especially at times when I have that extra $10 or $12, because as a prepper, it never hurts to have a couple extra throwaway knives. But then too, being this is a dagger design, I might take 1 or 2 of these and put one in my car. Maybe even put a few others in odd places. That way I have some backup knives if I ever need them. Always a good plan to have a backup, and it definitely serves its purpose that way. I mean, this is definitely too big to carry on a daily basis for self-defense. But as a piece just to keep in a drawer somewhere or put in your gun cabinet or in your car, great item. It's $4.40. So edge retention with a dagger is not so important because this is a stabbing weapon, not a slasher. You don't need it to be amazingly sharp. You need it to be able to stab. And it's just got to be strong enough where the blade's not going to snap if you hit a bone. And this is definitely a thick enough blade to do the job. So edge retention, I don't care if this is 440 steel. You don't need high carbon steel for this kind of dagger. I think this is definite gold. I will buy more of these. So, as you can see, these knives are absolutely hit or miss. Some of them are really good, some are really bad, but in the price range for $10, you're not going to find a better Bowie style knife for $10. This is pretty much the best you're going to get in that price range. But however, you can spend $20, $25 and get something a lot better than this. But if this is your backup, $10 for a backup, not bad. This right here, you know, $30 for the SOG. This was about $12. If this is all you can afford, this will do just as good a job and serve the same function as the SOG. And the SOG is on kind of the cheaper end as far as daggers. Beyond that, you're going all the way up to the the Gerbers and the Fairborn Sykes and stuff, and you're getting into the Applegate stuff, and you're getting into $70, $80, $100 daggers. For $10, this is a win. The SOG, if you can afford it, great. But if not, this is a good backup. I mean, you can buy the SOG and buy this as a backup. You know, why not? So I think definite. When it comes to Mtech, the 440 steel isn't the best. Yes, there's better steel. Yes, there's better quality out there. But these are great backup knives. These are great knives for light use, occasional use, but they're not, the edge retention is going to be a little poorer than what I'd like. But overall, I think these are something. I'm going to buy more of these knives. I can tell you right now, I'm going to buy a handful more Mtechs and stash these things in my gun cabinet, because for $10 a pop, I would have no problem having 10 or 20 of these stashed away.